Of the Democratic Republic of Congo have taken to the streets of the eastern capital, Goma. They're angry that an election due to be held on Sunday has been postponed in certain cities. They say that's an attempt to rig the polling. The Electoral Commission postponed voting in Beni and Butembu in eastern DRC, Yumbi in the west. This in the face of unrest and the spread of Ebola. The President, Joseph Kabila, insists that the DRC electoral law provides for this postponement, which will bar more than 1 million people from casting their ballots. To discuss, we're joined in studio by political analyst advocate Sipho Mantula. Thank you for being with us, Sipho. So, is this an attempt to rig the elections, firstly?
One can say that there is a pattern and the model of rigging elections, but when you look at the interpretation of their law, I think the issue of disenfranchising the North Kivu electorates in Beni and Yumbi, Constitutional Court will be at the better position to can say that we can limit that right. But how did the Electoral Commission limit that right? And then rigging again. And
let's be clear, these are opposition strongholds where the voting has been postponed.
And I think there are margins for them to saying it will be only 39 million votes that will be only counted, because we are talking of the 40 million voters here. And if you remember, the North Kivu area, it is a volatile area where violence has erupted, and there's been conflict since 1998 in that area. And when you look at the credibility of Electoral Commission, delaying elections for almost 2 years, a week later, again in March, it now says something about our electoral integrity and standards and values in Africa.
How will it actually work? Because a successor will have to be sworn in.
Correct.
But these cities are only allowed to vote in March next year. I mean, can they change the vote then? I don't understand.
It will be difficult more so when you look at these elections are harmonized. You have members of parliament who have to be voted in. And I can tell you we are talking of 34,000 candidates to only 500 seats. So DRC is a very complex country in terms of the numbers. So I think when they say it is being covered by the law, how do you now come to raise the three issues of Ebola, ethnic war, militias? Because I think they are raising issues that are very relevant, pertinent. But now, as you know, today in Beni, there was even an attack into a Beni Ebola center. So it shows that people are angry to the point that they don't care for the right to health.
Well, there were hopes that this would be the first democratic transition. I think we must talk about that, how it's never happened before. But firstly, were those hopes too high? Does this show that the chances of this being a free, fair, credible election slim, perhaps?
I think it is slim, but we should not be pessimistic. But at the same time, DRC is a very complex country once more. Even if you have the UN since 1960, remember it is a country where Lumumba was killed, and you have the UN peacekeepers since 1960 until today. And just today, the EU was told that within 48 hours you must have left DRC. So it is a very complex country. Even one can talk about their planning of holding elections. How can you delay elections for almost 2 years? And then you are raising the issue of money. And later you say, but we don't need help from anywhere else. We have our 1 billion electoral budget now. And you go and purchase voting machines that are even questionable now. There was no proper training. There is a load shedding in that country. There's a climate issue of rain. So I think when you look at credibility of elections, you look at the planning, logistics, electorates, look at the rule of law. And like I can tell you, there is no even electoral justice there. How will voters, candidates contest in the courts when there is a rumor that judges are aligned to Kabila?
Well, infrastructure, one of the reasons for the delays since 2016. He's been in power since 2001. And some people are blaming Joseph Kabila, saying he's just been clinging to power. Is that true?
Partly, yes, but it is our doing. Remember, South Africa came with the model of 4+1. It was Thabo Mbeki's mediation, Sun City saying Kabila will lead. Transition came, Bemba, negligent, ruthless, Bemba went to jail, come back, Bemba again 2018 want to be in the ballot. And I think Kabila, for him, he was not reckless only in 2016. I've been raising this, that saying itself, Electoral Commission was reckless for not holding elections in 2016 due to corruption allegations.
So Joseph Kabila is supporting someone, Emmanuel Shadari.
Yeah.
Tell us about him.
Emmanuel Ramazani Shadari was on the EU sanctions now because of the 2016 protest. But Shadari comes from a very quiet state security history background of Kabila's clique. But he's not known.
So he will be a continuation of what's been happening.
It's what we're calling is the Russian model of Putin. Kabila is outside, but he is on the side.
Pulling the strings.
He's pulling the strings. He might come back as the prime minister come 2023. That is a likelihood. But he's still the senator. Remember, as an ex-president, you still have the parliamentary powers. So Kabila will still rule. But I think beyond Shadari, a person that one can see now is Martin Fayula. Martin Fayula is coming strong now.
So he's an opposition leader.
He is the opposition leader.
And I saw polls today saying he's taken the lead.
Correctly. He has taken the lead from Tshisekedi, the son of the late president. I mean, the former opposition leader. Tshisekedi as well, a very troublesome person because he is from the Kasai. Now, Martin Fayula, it is because he was against the voting machines. That's why he's got popular support. But there is a problem. He's a proxy of Bemba. He's a proxy of Katumbi. Coming from where? He was nominated from Switzerland. The guys went to Europe and nominated each other there. That's why Tshisekedi and Vital Kamerhe pulled out. Vital Kamerhe was the former speaker. Now, Tshisekedi, like I say, being the youngest, he doesn't have appeal per se. Shadari, he's a very shady character.
So this is so complicated, and I'm sure answering this question will be complicated. But for viewers out there who don't know much of the history, how come this is the first time the DRC, and it hasn't even happened, but could potentially transition peacefully, democratically? How come that has not happened since 1960?
I don't think it is so. Even their name itself, Democratic Republic, but they are not even democratic, that country. I don't think so. I think DRC has been under the cloud of the former colonial masters. It has been under the cloud of the neighboring countries, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Angola, including South Africa. We have a vested interest in that country. So we have delayed transition in that country. There is no multi-party democracy in that country. Institutions are not visible. Security is not. Corruption very rife. So you blame Congolese themselves. And it is within the Congolese that they should resolve their challenges politically, economically. I can tell you there was a meeting this Wednesday in Congo, their neighbor. Heads of state met there. When I read their 17 resolution statement, they don't talk about enforcing measures when there will be eruption of violence after these polls. Because I think after these elections on Sunday, we must do the ECOWAS model of taking Yaya Jammeh out. Because if Kabila doesn't come out or Shadari insists that he is the winner, you might have the problem of SADC and AU failing to intervene in DRC, and we have the crisis of 1998. So I think DRC, it is a problem of understanding its history, that it is embroiled even with this continent and the foreign powers.
Is there any hope in finality?
There is hope, but hope is within the Congolese. They have to bring hope into their own country, but Africa has to keep assisting, and South Africa have to play their mediation role, including even the AU and the SADC.
All right, what we are seeing is pre-election violence. Unfortunately, we will follow what happens in the DRC. That was political analyst, advocate Sipho Mantula. And the election postponed in some cities, but the rest of the country meant to take to those polling stations on Sunday. And of course, we'll cover that comprehensively for you.